tuned in to a Grown Folks production. In the mix. With the commish, Nate.
All right, welcome in everybody to Press Pass Live. I am your Commissioner Nate, your host for tonight. Let me welcome in my buddy, Mr. Trey of the Detroit Lions. Trey, how you doing tonight, bud?
I'm doing fantastic. The real life Lions are kicking butt, and I'm enjoying Madden for what it's at least giving us. Yeah.
They gave you a little scare this past week, though.
I called it at halftime. That's just garbage. That's garbage points.
At least they made it interesting. The Lions are a lot like my Saints. They always got to keep you. They got to keep you in there. They can't just give you a total blowout. They got to keep you in there. My guy's got his cream soda rocking. He says he's drinking cream soda tonight. I'm like, I'm kind of jealous. I haven't had cream soda in a minute. Trey, we got quite the show tonight. We're going to talk about the AFC East. We're going to talk about the Houston Texans. We're going to talk about the more things change, the more they stay the same. D-Money and D-Wayne are undefeated still. And then finally, we're going to talk about Madden 23. It's letting us down just a little bit, but my hopes are still high. They're going to get it figured out. Let's not waste any more time because this old cat right here, he's got to get on a metal bird at 4 a.m. and go to Philly for a couple days for work. And, well, that comes super duper early. So I got to hurry up and get my butt to bed. Let's talk about the AFC East. As I started to prep for tonight's show, I couldn't help but take a look at the AFC East. Judge is already in chat, ready to talk about his New York Jets, Jets. They're sitting at 3-0, but not far behind them are the Buffalo Bills and their owner, Bill, at 3-1. Massimo and the Dolphins at 3-1, and you can't count out Lost Sniper and his New England Patriots. He had a tough one this past week, but he's sitting here at 2-2. The AFC East, they used to be the division that no one wanted to win for a bit, and now they're looking like the AFC Beast. Does this division, Trey, in your eyes, have what it takes to sustain for all of season 102, or is this just beginner's luck?
This is overhyped. The Jets themselves are on overhype mode. Their combined opponents' records are 4-12.
Say it louder for the people in the back. I don't think they heard you back there.
They've played the entire AFC North, who has 4 wins combined in 16 total games. This is what we call the overreactions. They're on a roll, but they haven't faced competition yet. Put them up against the likes of the Chargers, the Chiefs, all those guys that are still competing with them. And let's see how they roll then.
I want to stay there for a second. Let me ask you a quick question, because I know you got more to break down. I want to give you that chance, but I had a thought this week. I was watching Sunday Night Football, and I had this stupid thought that popped in my head. Usually the kind of thought that you just swallow and that you don't say out loud because you don't want anyone else to know what else happens inside of your head. But I think it totally matches here. I think even you, as the owner of the NFC, I keep calling them Central. I know they're not Central. The NFC North, I even had to go look again because I just want to keep calling them the Central. But even you, as the owner of the NFC North, you, I think, have benefited from a lot of this. Here's the thought. I'm going to spit it off, set it up now. Is Aaron Rodgers a little overhyped when it comes to the history of how they're going to look at him as a quarterback because of where he has played with the likes of the Lions? I know you're a Lions fan, but let's just admit they haven't been relevant in quite some time. The likes of the Chicago Bears, who haven't been relevant for some time. The likes of the Minnesota Vikings, who've had a lot of up and down, but kind of mediocre overall. Is he a little overhyped because of where he's played? And when we think about your division, and you are great, I don't think that can be taken from you. Aaron Rodgers is great. You can't take it from him. But is there a little bit that plays into the AFC East here that these teams are a little overflated just because of where they've played, is what you're saying?
Very much so. Like me myself, and me and Aaron Rodgers fit perfectly together with this. I kick butt during the regular season. Aaron Rodgers kicks butt during the regular season. Come playoff time, choke. At some point in the playoffs, it's due for a choke. I am trying to break that. Rodgers has been trying and he keeps falling short. I'm hoping I don't follow that path line.
Well, give me some more of your breakdown, but before you do, Judge is in the chat saying he's at 4-0. He's bragging about the Steelers. I love Outlaw. Outlaw's my dude. But come on, Judge. My dude's sitting at 0-4. It's a brand new team with no quarterback, no offensive line. Let's pump the brakes on bragging about beating the Steelers here. Give me the rest of the breakdown. Dolphins, Bills, Patriots. How you feeling about them?
The Patriots themselves, you look at their record. They've lost 2 games. They've won 2 games. Both their wins are against teams that have not won a game yet. You got to look at that and go, is he that good? Or are they just playing a bad team that week? Because he's played the Dolphins, he's lost, and he lost to the Packers, who Priest coming out of nowhere, showing off that he's hot and giving me some competition for the North. I'm happy about this. Priest is playing how he should be. But you look at Lost has, for the most part, been a top runner. Now he's certainly sitting towards the back of the end of the division. Was it really him being as good as everybody thought he was, or was it so much as he didn't have the competition to show how good he was? We'll see about that.
Does this division have that sustaining power? I think you've felt pretty passionate about the Jets and Patriots, but overall, is this a division that we look back on and go, man, they've got 3 teams in the playoffs, or is this just early?
I think that's early to say that we're going to get 3 teams in the playoffs. Like I said, I want to see them against the top-of-the-line competition. So far, the Jets haven't faced much. They've faced Denver with the Browns, and they squeaked a victory out by 8. That's bravo. Claps to you. But we want to see that against top-of-the-line, because for the last few Maddens now, it's been the AFC, they all prince and patter their way into the playoffs, and then come the OMFL Bowl, they get smashed by the guy in the NFC representing, because the NFC is iron sharpening iron. We don't have that iron sharpening iron here in the AFC just yet.
I would say, I do think there's one OMFL Bowl contender. I'm going to play both sides of the coin like you did. Look, the Jets sitting at 4-0. Congratulations. Here is where they're doing really good now. This is only showing 3-0 right now, but they have only allowed 60 points against their team. That's pretty impressive, and I would kind of debate just a little bit that a win over Denver, the champion, OMFL champion, season 101 champion Denver and his new Cleveland Browns. That's an impressive victory. The rest is debatable. I'm not going to go out like he is and chat and brag about beating up on Outlaw and the Steelers. Dolphins, I got to push back a little. He's sitting at 3-1. Okay, nice record. But you've scored 111 points and allowed 118 points. That is not winning football. That is one of the worst defenses in the entire OMFL. And then the Patriots, as big of a fan of Lost as I am, he's sitting at 2 wins and 2 losses, and the 2 wins are against teams that haven't won a game. He's got the quarterback issue that he's got to get it figured out. But with that said, the Bills, 132 points for his team, one of the best offenses in the OMFL, only 61 points against his team, 1 point worse than the best defense in this division. I'm sorry, in this conference. No, division. I had it right. Okay, come on, Nate. It's 1 point more than the Jets. That is really impressive football by Bill. We know that Bill is like kind of a lot like you. I think you're similar. I don't know if Bill's made a championship game here. I can't recall or not. You have, but like right on the cusp, right? Like just right there on the edge, almost making it in. I do think that they could be an OMFL Bowl contender. Like you got Josh Allen, you got those playmakers on the outside. He's playing really great defense right now. A lot of speed, a lot of athleticism. This feels like his season to strike. The AFC East, they are a fun division, but I do think we got to pump the brakes just a little bit because I think it's a little early to be calling this one. We'll have to see how this one playing out. But so far, they're a pretty fun division. Let's stay over in the AFC. Wrong way, Nate. Let's go over here to the AFC South. And right here on my screen, ladies and gentlemen, I want you to take a snapshot. I want you to take a photo. I want you to frame this one. My guy Roger is up on top of this division over the mighty Jaguars and King Brady, sitting at 3-0. The offense is not particularly sexy, only 77 points, but one can talk about the entire AFC South is not super sexy with their offense. But that defense, man, is playing good football. 65 points against them, sitting at 3-0. The Houston Texans, Trey, are your division leaders, but do you think that they too have what it takes to survive for this entire season? Or is this again just a little case of beginner's luck? Too early to tell.
Here's another case of beginner's luck. I love Roger. I am so thankful he is with us and kicking butt. But their combined record of those three teams have 2 wins. And those are solely on the Bears, who gave him a run for his money. I want to see what he does against competition that is on his level. He's playing, I believe, the Chargers tonight. And I want to see how that game goes. And then we'll see if he can compete with guys like that. Then I'm more willing to buy into him being the AFC South champion going into the playoffs.
I would consider you a bit of a quarterback whisperer. Now, you definitely have your style of quarterback, but I want to throw a couple of stats at you, and you tell me where you're going with this one. You got a 2 touchdown, 4 interception, 64% completion percentage quarterback. He's tossed 448 yards on 42 attempts, 27 completions against a quarterback whose 40 attempts has 31 completions, 404 yards, 4 touchdowns, no interceptions, 77% completion percentage, 8 sacks for the first one, only 2 sacks for the second one. Well, who is your quarterback if you're the Houston Texans? I'm not putting any names on there.
I'm taking the quarterback that has 4 touchdowns and no picks. Because, I mean, cough, cough, wink, wink, a similar situation happening in Detroit.
Yeah, you got the young quarterback in Dishman. He's got the big arm. He's 6'3", 239, out of Wake Forest. He's the quarterback of the future, but yet, like a lot of rookie quarterbacks, I love that Madden just kicked me out. We're going to talk about that here in just a little bit. But like a lot of rookie quarterbacks, he's struggling. And then you got the veteran Mills, a lesser arm. I think he's at 87 is his arm, because he and I kind of talked about a possible trade for that kid. And I was like, man, even if I gave him 2 of my XP, I could only get him to 89. But yet, this kid has come out and thrown for 77% completion percentage and 4 touchdowns to 0 interceptions. There is a bit of a quarterback controversy, especially if you're struggling with offense. But you look at the rushing game, Damian Pierce has had a couple nice games. Look, he's averaging 5.1 yards a carry, but only 1 touchdown and only 200 yards total. Marlon Mack isn't playing very well. 25 attempts, only 82 yards. You look at his receiving, Glenn Winslow, he's a stud. He's probably going to make the Hall of Fame. He's got 15 for 301 and 4 touchdowns, but everybody else is really struggling outside of his tight end, Brevin Jordan, who's got 12 for 163. And then if you look at the defense, they've played really good football. A lot of sacks for this team. His leader is Franklin Myers at 3.5, but he's got Hughes Jr. at 3. He's got Greenyard at 1.5, Green at 1. His interception leaders is King II at 2, Nelson with 1, Murray with 1. So he's got good defense. But you're telling me that you just think that this is a little too early. I want to look at his schedule really quick. Let me see if I can pull up his schedule and we can run through his schedule really fast. I want you to give me a prediction. What do you think is going to happen to the Houston Texans? Let me pull it up real quick. Houston Texans, right now, this week, you said we got the Chargers and Pepper. It's going to be a statement game. Then we're following that right up with the Jaguars, another back-to-back statement game. Then he gets a bit of a bye week. And then we got the Raiders and Jay Bows. Then we got Decatur Boss Hog, which is, oh my goodness, why is this Discord name slipping my brain? True, thank you, with the Titans. Then he's got Twinkie with the Eagles. Then he's going to see C-Murder Colin. He's went over to the Giants. Then he's got our guy Penguins with the Commanders, who I think by then is going to be rocking and rolling. But then listen to this stretch. So he's got Massimo and the Dolphins. He's got Denbrew and the Browns. He's got D. Wayne and the Cowboys. bit of a breather maybe with Luka and the Kansas City Chiefs. And he's got the Titans, Jaguars, and Colts to finish out the season. That is not an easy schedule, and that's got a hell of a stretch right there in the middle. Give me a prediction. What do you think happens to the Houston Texans as we move through season 102?
I feel like he's going to end up losing a majority of that back half. That you're going up against Colin, who's been one of the top in the AFC for the longest time and now transferred over. You got Penguins, who's starting to catch his groove. I played him and you beat me. So there's something that's there. And I'm considered one of the top, even though I don't sometimes play like it. Then you've got Massimo with the Dolphins. You got Denbrew coming off his championship run and he's using the Browns. You've got Dwayne, who's Dwayne. And then you have another episode later on versus the Jaguars. It's going to be a tough stretch of games for them to come out on the back half with a positive record.
Yeah, I'm going to go the other way. I think he's going to win more than he loses, but I do think that stretch that you just named is going to be a brutal one. I just think that with the rules that we're trying for 102, it does set up for someone like him to play call a really good game. He does like to play defensive end, which is going to give him a bit of a benefit to get that pass rush. And if you're just a hair late, now I do think as we move through the season, guys are going to get their timing down. They're going to get some things figured out. So it's going to get tougher. But man, it just takes that one game where he's just clicking. He gets off that line quick, hits your quarterback a few times, gets a few fumbles, a few bad throws, gets a couple of picks. I think he's going to sneak a couple of wins here. He's got to get the quarterback thing figured out. And I don't know if this is one of those things where you're like, hey, I'm sitting at 4-0, 3-1, whatever that record is again, and I need to make a run. And so because I need to make a run, I'm going to play the veteran here. I'm going to go with the lesser arm and play a little bit more conservative and let my defense make plays. Or do I just go all in, get that XP, bite the bullet for one season, pour into the rookie, and then have him the rest of the cycle? That's a tough trade-off because I don't think that Mills is the cycle answer for the Houston Texans. It is Dishman, but man, that's going to come with turning the ball over a lot, and that's going to lead you to lose some games that you shouldn't. I do like the Texans. Raj is my guy. Might be the most likable dude here. He knows how much everybody here loves him. But man, I don't know. That schedule mixed with what he decides to do at the quarterback, it's going to decide his season. But I think furthermore, it's going to decide his cycle. If he doesn't bite the bullet this season, he's going to have to bite it next season. Sooner or later, you got to bite the bullet with a rookie quarterback. You got to bite the bullet, get the interceptions out of your system, figure out how to play with him, get the XP built up. And the Houston Texans they've got a lot of questions to answer here, man. And you said it, that stretch of 4 or 5 games right there, smack in the middle, it's going to decide his season. It's going to decide when he faces the Bradys, the Titans, the Colts, when he faces those teams at the end of that season, is he playing for something? That stretch right there in the middle, that's going to decide that. The more things change, Trey, the more they stay the same. 49ers, D-Money, 3-0. Cowboys, Dwayne, 4-0. Your Detroit Lions, 3-1. The top of the top of the top is still at the tippy top of this league. And this is what I say all the time. Guys push back against changes and rule changes, but I've always said the cream always rises to the tippy top in this league, and the guys who win here will win no matter what because they adjust, because they're good play callers, they're good GMs, they build teams that fit their style. They will find ways to win. The more things change, the more they stay the same here. Are you surprised by either one of these teams? The 49ers sitting at 3-0, the Cowboys at 4-0, and part B of this question for you is, does the power still fully live in the NFC, even though the AFC has gotten their fair Super Bowls after last Madden cycle?
Yeah, the power still lies with us until we decide that we don't want it anymore. I do think that, listing off me, D-Money, and Dwayne, we're all showing a little bit of rust and adapting to the new game, but we're finding ways to overcome it and still win the games.
Listen to these stats. 229 points for, 112 points against. That is the 49ers and Cowboys stats combined. The 49ers have allowed 32 points through 3 games. That takes your breath away. The Cowboys have scored 123 points on people. Then you put in your team, 130 points for your team, 69 points against. The Packers, they're sitting at 3-1. The Rams, they're sitting at 2-1. The Commanders, they're starting to figure some things out at 2-2. Colin starting to figure some things out at 2-2. No one expected anything from Duval and the Seahawks. They're sitting at 2-2. The Falcons, one of the better teams in this league, he's at 1-3. He's going to turn things around, man. The NFC is scary good, but I would be remiss if I didn't tip my cap to the AFC. Brady, a back-to-back 2-time champion last cycle. Denbrew, the current champion. Even though he's moved teams, he's still the current champion. 3 of the 5 OMFL Bowls sit in the AFC from last Madden cycle. But man, when it comes to the regular season and the pure dominance, it sits in the NFC. And there is a bit of what you and I talked about earlier in the show. They just beat up on each other. And I went through the ringer last cycle, the last season, 101, where I had to play D-Money on the road, D-Wayne on the road. And I came out of them 2, and I was exhausted by the time I got to D-Wayne. I felt like I was playing with house money, and it hit me in the 4th quarter of, yo, homie, this is the OMFL Bowl. This is what you've been working to get to. This is the last game of the season. You better snap out of it. I know that you got 2 big victories against the 2 monsters, but you better snap out of it and get plugged into this game, because when you come out of the NFC, and you can speak to it, you've been to an OMFL Bowl, you feel like, man, that NFC championship was my championship. And it's almost like, oh yeah, I got a whole nother team to go play here.
Yep. That's the thing. We're always battling because it's the cream of the crop that seems to be stuck in the NFC with each other. So we're just battle. And by the time we get to the OMFL Bowl, it's like, breathe. Oh crap, it's the 4th quarter.
Who's your team? Who's your team in the AFC? We've got the Chargers at 3-0. We got the Jets at 3-0. I think we know how you feel about the Jets, but look, the Chargers offense not super sexy, only 97. I shouldn't say only 97. That's still going to put him in the top half of the league, but only 58 points against him. You got the Bills that we've talked about at 3-1, Texans at 3-0. Like, who is the team over in the AFC that might be able to topple one of these giants from the NFC?
Believe it or not, I'm going to go against my better judgment here, and I'm going to say it's going to be the Bills.
What is it about that team that just sticks out? You're like, man, this is the team I think they can do it.
It's not so much the team, it's the owner. Bill has been involved in this league. He was in with Seattle for the longest time. He knows what the battle is like on the road to the OMFL Bowl for the NFC. He hasn't gotten there, I don't believe, but he knows what it's like. So then he's bringing that side of things to the AFC. I think that's where it comes down in the playoff games when somebody's like, I need to make a break play. Bill's going to be calm, cool, or collected, where some of those guys might just they'd be edgy and wanting to make it to the next game and make a mistake, and Bill capitalizes.
I think that is a really good perspective that he brings that over to the AFC. Listen, I'm still a really big fan of the Browns. I'm very impressed by what Pepper, who also brings that over to the AFC, is doing with his Chargers. I want to see it. I want to see him do it in the playoffs. We haven't seen that from Pepper. I know he's got it in him. He's done it in other leagues. I want to see him do it here. I really like what Massimo is doing over in Miami, even though that defense is a bit shaky. And look, we got to tip our cap to Shocks. He's got some things figured out with Kansas City at 3-1. You know, Brady will get some things figured out with the Jaguars at 2-2. And you still got teams like the Bengals, the Titans, the Colts, who started out in some close games. Nipples and his Ravens. I know he's at 0-4, but man, that team has some firepower. So there's definitely the guys there that they're going to have to put it together long term. And I think if there is a benefit from playing in the AFC, it does feel like there is a gap between the top talent season in and season out and kind of the middle to lower tier talent in the AFC. And so you don't really have to like click on all cylinders until you make it deep into the playoffs. Whereas I would argue the NFC wildcard games are just brutal. You've got 10, 11 win teams coming out of the NFC in a wildcard game going on the road to play another team. And you're like, I won 11 games this season and I'm on the road in a wildcard game playing one of the top teams in the league. And they just beat up on each other. And it feels like there's a little bit of exhaustion by the time they get into the playoffs. It's setting up for quite the season here in season 102.
I'd like to make a little comment here. My comment about Roger and showing me competitive is currently in the fourth quarter, Roger is up 21-14 over the Chargers.
That's impressive. Good game there too. It would be nice to do a live check-in. Maybe next time we can do that. Let's talk for a second about the unfun stuff. For all the things that Madden has done well, and I think it's so easy to live in this universe of the Twitter social media world. Just it's cliche to be angry. It's cliche to find things to be upset about. To get kind of just caught into the wave of emotions and throw everything out. And I just don't live in that world. Personally, I choose not to. But for all the good things that Madden has done, player movement, gameplay, zone, defense, like all the things that they have done really well. And this is a really enjoyable game for us on the CFM side of things. Things are not so enjoyable right now. Things are not saving. Whether it's depth changes, roster changes, team edits, player edits, games are not being reported. They're showing reported for some. They're not showing reported for others. And some games just aren't being held. We've seen some leagues out there get caught into these loops where they actually revert back to the preseason just like overnight. We've seen people get in draft loops where the draft just keeps simming over and over and over. Look, you can see one on my screen right now. I can't see if I can point to it, but right there it says scenario, get act, post, actor, name. That's not even a thing, but like franchise is lacking. It's buggy. It's unfinished. And it's like they put so much focus into the new things and the things they wanted to get right that things got left undone, unfinished. And the polished version of the game that we were promised really just showed up in gameplay and not in the CFM. You're a passionate guy. I'm sure you've got your own feelings about the current state of the CFM. So let me have it.
Oh boy, where do I start? It feels like we took 50 steps forward in gameplay, but took 100 steps backwards with just small, nitpicky things. Like, I played my game with Penguins, and he blew my butt out. It didn't record any of our stats. Like, that's when a guy gets a blowout like that. You know, I was upset because I got blown out, but
Yeah.
like, you want that guy to have the stats. You want him to be able to, you know, he went into the game, he thought he had his roster set, and half the guys weren't where he originally placed them. So it's like, we had, I think, 2 or 3 pauses where he was like, wait, that guy's not supposed to be there. That guy's not supposed to be there. It's like the small, nitpicky things that normally we wouldn't have to talk about because those were polished off. We're having to deal with. Well, the major stuff is almost kind of dealt with. There is some bugs with gameplay that, like, players still don't understand how to play a flat zone, which I do not get. Like, sometimes they'll play it, sometimes they won't. That's another topic for another day that I can go on. But just like, one of these days, I want them to figure it out. I just want it so that we get that game that everybody's thinking that we're going to get. No more of these, them saying they're cutting people for budget cuts, yet they're profiting. They're getting the max profits. You got the Ultimate Team that's carrying your way. pay the people to make the game work. That's all we need to do.
With it, looking to pass.
Yep, it's undebatable. Let me see if I can. Oh gosh, I was doing a live look-in, but it's so stinking loud. I'm gonna have to get out of it. It is now a tie game at 21-0, but it's so stinking loud and I can't lower it. I don't know why, but if I lower it, I won't be able to hear Trey. I agree. Look, it's unacceptable, and I'm never gonna be a pitchfork guy. It's just not who I am. I get why people would. It's $60 to $120, whatever the top end one was that some people paid, and it's just not acceptable
I have to pay $135 for the top end, and I'm Canadian.
Yeah, it's not right. It's unacceptable, and I personally am choosing to hope that their silence means that they know that these are issues, and they're trying to figure out a fix to get these issues fixed. And one could hope that they get that done ASAP, because it's just not acceptable that this is a thing, and that this continues to be a thing. But I would say, if there is a silver lining, this feels like the easier stuff to fix than 98% of the gameplay issues that we've been having for the last 10 years. It feels like these feel like
definitely
easier fixes that they can get to. And I do hope that they get to them. There's these Twitter spats that happen that, like, at some point I do have to agree with the notion, if you hate it that much, don't play it, don't buy it. Like, you have, as a consumer, you have that choice. But I equally don't agree that, well, you bought the game, you play what you were given. No, that's not true. Like, there's just some gross errors that need to be fixed, and I do hope that they can get them fixed. And I still stand by, if they can fix these CFM issues, then this could be one of the best Mads that we've ever had, and it will have some longevity that we can enjoy. So
yeah, I know there's one issue that I hope gets fixed before we get to the off season, because I
draft.
know everybody. Not even that. There's the draft loop, but there's had some people that once they get to the preseason one, it completely deletes the franchise.
Yeah, let's hope that's not a thing. The one thing is we have a little time, hopefully, as long as we don't catch the revert bug where it just reverts us back. We have some time for them to get some things figured out, and hopefully they do, and hopefully this isn't the stain that we try to avoid, and I was hoping we would avoid this Madden. All right, give me some closing thoughts, Trey. RL, thanks for showing up, buddy. Appreciate you. He said he just played a game, and it didn't. RL said it didn't save. So yeah, it's happening. It sucks. Give me some closing thoughts, Trey, on season 102 and the hot start that we're off to.
Okay, first thing, just non-thing. Outlaw, keep up with scheduling the game. My God, man.
Can we give that guy some snaps? Like, come on. Like, everybody hammers on him. He's got his own gifts. Like, he takes his fair share of blunts to the head. Like, let's give him some snaps like you just did.
Yeah, he deserves it. He's having his game booked. Like, he'll play his one game, and he'll have next week's game booked before we're even at the halfway point in the week. Like, bravo. Keep it up. I love it. Priest, I know you're watching. Whatever you're doing, stick with it. Don't get greedy. Don't try and be a hot shot and make big plays just to go ha-ha.
Trey, there's no way. He does not have that in him. He is a gunslinger. I see you in the chat right now, Priest. He's a He is Brett Favre made over in Madden, the Madden realm. Like, he can't help himself.
Not anymore. I will break him of this habit. I will break it. Somehow I will. I don't know how, but I will. By words or by gameplay, I will break him from that habit.
It's been a fun season, and I know that this the last probably 10 days or so have been a bit of a damper because of the CFM issues, but I still have high hopes, and it's been a fun season, and the parity and the change has been fun to see early. But some of me wonders, man, will the D Money and the D Waynes, will the Brady's, like, will all that begin to to really show itself as we go here. Trey, thank you for coming to hang out with me, buddy. I appreciate you guys. I am going to call it a night. 4 a.m. comes bright and early in the morning. Might go get one little PUBG game in. But before we go, we're going to take a quick live look in to this Chargers and Texans game. Last I checked, it was 21-21. Let's pull it up real quick. We're sitting at 20. It's so loud. I wish it wasn't so loud, but it's 21-21. 9:53 left to go in the fourth quarter. Texans are on defense. It looks like Pepper and his Chargers are at the 45 and driving. Let's see if we can live look in. That's cool jerseys, red helmets, blue jerseys. I like them.
Welcome to the color. Hey, speaking of positive things, they got the helmets in without crashing the game.
Yeah. I rocked black tops, white bottoms, black helmets in my last game, and it was pretty good. It was fun to rock those. All right, guys. On that, we're gonna. You don't at all?
No.
But the Detroit Lions are so classic, so at least you have that. You have that classic look, that classic jersey. All right, guys, thanks for tuning in to Press Pass Live. Season 102 is underway. I appreciate you. Thank you for hanging out with Trey and myself. Go tune in to Roger as they play a really tight game against Pepper. That should be a good one as it comes to a close. It's in the Discord. Final game of the week, and we're going to be in week number 5 of season 102. I'm going to miss my next game, so don't bet on any Saints or Seahawks game. I'm going to miss it. Tonight was our only shot to get it in.
Bet on Lions and Patriots because it's happening right away.
There you go. All right, guys, we'll see you on the next one. I love you. You matter. Thank you for hanging out with me. Do me a favor. Hit the like button. Thank you for the comments down here in chat. If you're watching this after, let me know your thoughts, especially here in the OMFL. I'll see you on the next one. Trey, thank you. Take care and have a great week, my buddy.
You as well, Nate.
There we have it. We'll see you guys on the next one.
Smash that like and subscribe.